This is going to be my support tier list for patch 13.11, but before we get into any of that, just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to win some free skins. I'm giving away some codes for Nightbringer Jarvan. This unlocks the champion, the skin, and the exclusive green chroma. If you would like a chance to win one of these, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you leave a like on the video, and comment the keyword Jarvan down in the comment section below. That's enough of that, though. Let's get back on topic here, talking about the patch 13.11 changes. Now, this patch in particular isn't actually a big patch by any means. It's more so just like some small tweaks here and there, some minor adjustments, but overall just like a time to look back and reflect on last patch, which really shifted the game around. As I said a couple weeks ago when the patch dropped, it was such a big patch that this is the kind of patch that you would typically see in preseason, not in the middle of the season, but we're here, we have to deal with it. And what I said in that video a couple weeks ago, my last support tier list, was that I think the meta was going to heavily depend on the ADCs and the ADC item changes that were going to be implemented. I think overall the support items were buffed altogether. That includes both the enchanter items and the tank items, but it wasn't going to be the main factor that dictated whether tank supports or enchanter supports were stronger. It was going to be the ADC changes. And if I look at my other monitor over here, I can see that Kog'Maw currently in D2 Plus has a 53% win rate, and that tells us everything that we could possibly need to know about the support meta, because that just means enchanters are on their way back up. I think a clear indicator of this is the fact that Yuumi, a champion that they are trying to nerf into oblivion, who had like a 47 or 48% win rate before last patch dropped, now she's sitting at like a 51 or 52% win rate, probably closer to 51. And that just goes to show that a champion that isn't actually good because of these item changes has all of a sudden become a little bit more relevant in the meta. I don't think that tells the whole picture, because if we look up here into like the strong tier list, we could still see a lot of engaged supports, the Alistar, the Maokai, the Rakan, some champions I've talked about for quite some time, the Amumu, who has kind of snuck up into the top tier of supports after last patch when he recently got buffed. It doesn't tell the whole story, but it does just go to show that supports, enchanter supports, are definitely stronger in this patch. So that should just about wrap up what happened in the last patch, but let's take a look at what they're doing this patch. Overall, just actually two changes to support champions themselves. First of which is going to be the Amumu Nerfs. Now, these are nerfs that I think are probably intended to be directed towards Amumu in the jungle. And personally, when I saw the buffs for Amumu last patch, I didn't actually think he was going to be all that impactful. But we can see here Amumu currently sitting at a 52.78% win rate in D2+. Now, it is important to note that this has a little bit under a 2% pick rate, so it's not being played a whole lot. But the way I look at it is Amumu is a really strong support. He always has been a really strong support for the past like year or so. People just weren't really playing him, and after getting those buffs recently, they started playing it again and realizing how strong it actually is. So I don't think it was the buffs that made Amumu strong as a support. I think he was always strong. People just weren't really giving him all that much attention. The nerfs this time around aren't going to be the biggest deal in the world, especially for Amumu as a support. If I can find it here somewhere. Yes, that's right here. So W base damage goes down per second from 20 to 14. That just means you're doing 6 less damage every second. That's going to hurt a little bit for Amumu in the jungle because your clear is going to be a little bit slower. And yes, Amumu is nice as a support because you do have pretty good damage output when you're going in and setting up these team fights for your team. But I think what really makes him good is all that CC that he has, especially the ability to throw out 2 bandage tosses now, just makes it so that you miss one, you're still a useful champion, right? So I think Amumu is going to continue to be very good. I would not be surprised to see his win rate stick around up in the 52, especially since not a lot of people are playing him right now. Of course, anytime a champion is played more frequently, the win rate will typically drop if it's, you know, a somewhat balanced champion. I think if people were to play him more, he'd drop down a little bit, but for now, I think Amumu is actually kind of a sneaky OP support pick. Again, sitting right under 53% win rate, little under 2% pick rate. I don't think that these nerfs will change how strong he is as a support all too much. And now the other change that we have specifically to support champions in this patch is going to be the mini Rell rework. I made a whole video breaking down all the changes. I would advise that you guys go check that out. But Rell is another champion that I think is a sneaky OP support pick right now. She's been at like a 52 to 54% win rate for a really long time. But the reason that Riot isn't nerfing her is because people aren't playing the champion, which is probably a big reason as to why they are actually adjusting her, doing this mini rework just to try to get more people playing the champion. But with that 53% win rate, 1% pick rate right now. She's been sleeper OP. I think the rework is actually going to make her stronger overall. I think it makes her kit a lot more dynamic. Again, check out the video that I put up recently if you guys want to get a better understanding of why she's going to be so dynamic and be stronger overall. But I think Rell might continue to be a really strong sleeper OP pick, maybe drop a little bit down in the win rate column just because anytime a new champion comes out or a new rework comes out, a lot of people are going to be excited to play the champion. So when you get a lot of people who are first timing a champion in ranked and not being all that good at the champion, you might actually see her dip down quite a bit at the beginning. But give this a week or two, let people figure out how to use the rework properly, and I think she's actually going to remain to be a really strong support pick, probably in the 52%, 53% win rate. Now that's it for changes directly to champions. However, we do have some changes to items here. Again, I think that Riot identified the fact that enchanters might be getting a little too overtuned too quickly. We saw with this most recent patch that came out, there's still some strong engage supports, you know, like I mentioned, the Rakan up here, the Alistar up here. But for the most part, after the last patch, engage supports didn't go up. They kind of remained the same or dropped down a little bit, while enchanters continued to move up, notably the Yuumi, notably the Kog'Maw being a 53% win rate. And I think they're aware of this. So a couple changes here to enchanter items to try to kind of prevent that meta from being super dominant. Most notably the Ardent Censor nerf here. Bonus attack speed from 15 to 30% based on allies level is now just going to be a flat 20. So stronger if you initially get it, having it at 20 rather than 15 if you were to get it earlier in the game. But definitely a huge nerf here, dropping from 30% all the way to 20. This is going to hurt with those late game scaling hypercarry ADCs quite a bit. Also, Echoes is getting nerfed here, which I'm a little disappointed about because I think it's a fun item, and I know a lot of people were excited to see this item re-implemented back into the game, but it's understandably so because they want enchanters not to be so overwhelming. Something that is worth pointing out here is that even though enchanters are getting a little too strong and they want to set them back a little bit, Moonstone is actually getting a bit of a buff here. Looks like the single healing is going up, the chain healing is going up. I think this is just because other enchanter items are better, I guess is the best way to put it. And Moonstone, even though enchanters are strong, the item itself isn't all that strong, so it's trying to catch it up to speed with the other enchanter items. I don't see anything wrong with this personally. Now, just to wrap things up, because we have gone over all the changes already, but I get a lot of people commenting on this every single tier list that I do. Yes, what you see on the screen right here is champions sorted by win rate according to the last patch. And I always try to emphasize on this, and I'll continue to do so just so people get you know, what I'm trying to get across here. But win rates are not everything. I think there's a lot of other factors that you have to take into account, so let's go ahead and do that now. You might notice that Janna is the only one that I have at the top here in broken 54% win rate or higher. That is not an exaggeration. This champion is one that I pointed out a while back when she got buffed. She was already strong, did not deserve buffs, and I also made a video recently talking about how Riot is being really stubborn and refusing to admit that they've made a mistake. They made a mistake buffing this champion, and they are not going to go back and revert any of the changes. So expect Janna to be one of the top supports in the game for a bit of time coming forward. 54.47% win rate in D2 plus from this last patch with a 9% pick rate. That is a large enough sample size that we can for sure say this champion is broken. Rell kind of already went over it. I expect the win rate to drop a little bit just because new people are going to be playing her. Annie, strong champion, but a low pick rate, so take that with a grain of salt. Sona continues to be a really strong champion, 53% win rate, 5% pick rate. Alistar and Rakan, probably the two strongest engaged support champions in the game right now. Amumu, low pick rate, take that with a grain of salt. Same thing with Taric. Blitzcrank is really strong, and Milio as well. 52% win rate with almost a 20% pick rate is absolutely insane. So that's all just a lot of me rambling about pick rates and win rates, but the main thing that you need to take away from this, Janna, very strong. Sona, very strong. Alistar, Rakan, Milio, Blitzcrank. Those are my top champions for this upcoming patch. The other champions that you see up here, yes, they are at the top of the list because of their win rate, but you have to take it with some caution because there's not a high pick rate there to support it. So I hope that clears things up for the people who are constantly asking about that in the comment section, saying that I think win rate is everything, when it's not. There is a bigger picture here, but if you guys have more questions about specific champions or items or changes and you want me to clarify, go more in depth, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below. Also, again, enter the giveaway if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, comment the keyword, which is Jarvan. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.